Hey, how you doing? Thank you for tuning in. I'm doing a late night session. I was up journaling. I got in a great nap yesterday or last night. So I'm up. Shout outs to your brother, Dixon Myers. Shout outs to Dixon Myers. Is it just a regular shout out or is it birthday? Because we can make a birthday song easy. Can I just say, I just want to first off thank y'all for tuning in right now. I know it's different time zones in the world, so this is sort of cool. It's a birthday. Happy birthday to you. I never tried to sing and play bass at the same time. I could do it on piano. Just give me a quick second to switch. Um, let's see. Um, Here we go. Yeah. 1, 2, happy birthday. And this is from Piff Flavored. My brothers really appreciate he has Down syndrome. Wow. Come on, don't get me emotional now. God bless you. You don't know what I'm going through. Mm, you don't know the purpose of this late night session. So, first, before I get to me, let's give some love to Dixon Mayers. I've never even tried this before. Mm, happy, happy, all right. birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Dixon Myers. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to happy birthday to you. Thank you. I'm freestyling right now, so of course it wasn't perfect, and I figuring it out in front of you. But if I may share, not to make this about me, um, you just said something, and you said Down syndrome, and that is, to my understanding, would you consider that a disorder or a disability? Um, like what category is that? And I really say that because I've been saying recently, and this is not about your case, but we don't play with handicap. Handicap is a very serious word. You said it's a spectrum flavor. Okay. So I actually wrote this in my journal entry. I said I'm having a hard time. It's right here. I'm not lying. So this is on time. This is God right now. This is synchronicity. And you're sort of answering a prayer right now just by being present. So I just want you to know that. I said I'm having a hard time entertaining, embracing, and acknowledging the term disorder and disability. Handicap for defiance. Basic respect and gratitude radiates if it is indeed present. Okay. I wrote that because of a few reasons, but I actually experienced being handicapped temporarily a few months ago. I actually was in a wheelchair, and you don't play being handicapped. You don't play with disorders and disabilities. If it's real, then it's real. And if it's real, it's consistent. And if it's reversible, dear God, I pray for healing for anybody going through anything. You said, okay, here we go. This is where we get into it. Hello, a master smoker. You said, I have an ADHD and defiance disorder. It's been fun, fun learning to deal. You know what is cool about like Instagram and other platforms is you get to join the chat with video, and I don't know if YouTube allows that, but I wish we could talk right now. It would be even better in future sessions if we can link like this, meet here, and just like, yo, what's your at? And we go to Zoom or, IG and we can actually chat. But let me just say that um where'd you go? Don't go. Come back on Master Smoker. We can do anything we put our minds to. Okay. Um You said you have ADHD. What do you make of this right here? Um, Discord. Discord is the one. Okay. Um, in general, follow URLive Radio or Shirai Inc. on Instagram so that we can you know. He says peach lunch. Okay. Um, let me get his name one more time just to confirm. Here we go. Um, no. All right. It says right here, Leon Eisenberg. I used to know his name off the top of my head, but it's been a while since I've had to do this. So, Leon Eisenberg, a prominent child psychiatrist who helped research early treatment for behavioral disorders in children, claimed that he admitted on his deathbed shortly before he died that ADHD is a prime example of a fictitious disease. Are you there? See, that's why I need to have and keep I hate that I lost you. But anyway, his name is Leon Eisenberg and he is the creator of this whole ADHD thing, and he admitted on his deathbed that it's a fictitious disease. Um and so I find myself in conversations where I'm like, if that is what it is, then what is the rest? What is placebo? What is real? What is believed? What is fed? And what is propaganda? What is business? What is medicine? All of those things. Are you still there, a master smoker? Because I really have questions. I really want to engage right now. I need some feedback. Yay, you're still there. You says, is that the real truth? Wow. So you are still there. Look up his name for yourself, Leon Eisenberg. So here's the thing. My issue is for those who are committed to it, it's embedded and ingrained in your mind and your spirit and your research and your foundation and all the years you've been taking medicine that, hey, I have this thing, I have this condition. And yeah, when I pull up the internet and I read these descriptions, oh, I identify, and don't get me wrong, when I read some of it, I see things that could apply to me, but no, I don't identify with no disorder. I don't identify with no disability because I'm not disabled. I am experiencing a lot of challenges in life, and there are a lot of cyclical setbacks and challenges, but is that a disorder or is that life? you know, is that not inflation, propaganda? Is that not environment? Is that not um you know gaslighting, gatekeeping, blocking your earning potential and creating stressful environments that are later impacting your time and energy that's later being transferred into your daily practice and functionality? Vaccines, medicine, all of these things. Do you really have a disorder? Did God create an unable creature or a disabled creature in you? Nurture versus nature, or are you impacted by the world, the matrix that you were born into? You said that's part of life. I know what you're talking about. We all go through struggle. It's real when we learn to accomplish and learn from the mistakes. So I just want to say shout outs and blessings to the person earlier who mentioned, that their sibling had Down syndrome. And to me, that's serious. When I hear ADHD, I'm like, I've been a teacher in the school system. I've had the blessing to see students and work with students on all ends of the spectrum. And I, you know, as the art and music teacher, of course, get to experience them in a more creative element and freely expressive element than maybe their core subjects. Um, but when I first started teaching, they just threw at me all the students, general population and special needs, and anybody in between. And I just took it like a G. You feel me? Am I Muslim? I am not Muslim, but welcome, Jackie Moon, a master smoker, Alexis Navarro. Thank y'all so much for joining. You says, bro, I would really like to be able to chat sometime on Zoom or something. That would be dope. Yes. So I don't see, I like Instagram because I can type. I want to type to you right now. But so this you are live radio is my Instagram name. And then my direct, like, I have different pages, but that's probably the easiest to say. You are live radio out of all of them because I don't feel like spelling my name. My name is Sherard, SHERARDINC is my Instagram. I'm also a barber, so I have a hair page, Sherard Natural. Uh, and yeah. He says, yeah, it matters. Hi, Jackie Moon. You said, do I make music or something? Hey, DC1. Yes. I make music. I am a musician, and my brief music story, I could say it real quick. Fifth grade, I started tenor saxophone. 10th grade, I started choir. Um, but I was in bass section and I wasn't really singing out. I was really shy. I was really tone deaf, but I had the passion and desire to sing. And then sophomore year of college, fast story, my first experiments with marijuana, weed brownies, and smoking with my roommates. We smoked because we felt like we weren't getting high, like from the brownies, not knowing that they were going to kick in probably 2 hours later. And then we smoked and we were just like extra over high. However, the next day they said that I was singing and sounded good. Now I remember the act of it happening, but what I specifically remember happening was looking at the speaker. I already have foundation reading music. So the music staff, the 5 lines, I remember seeing the staff come out of the speaker almost like this, but it was like the music staff from like a Looney Tunes sing along. And you know how you could see the notes? They were spread out and it just was in a way that I could read it. So I went from being tone deaf to now seeing an intrinsic in my mind and brain graph of music that I can follow with my voice to know to go up or down or maintain the spot on. And I was just like, oh my gosh, what if I just cured tone deaf? Or like, what if I really just like fast forward the next day, I could not do it. I was sober whenever it settled down. But my roommates were like, no, you were really like singing. I'll only bring that up to say, fast forward around 2013, I was working at a restaurant that had live music in New York, Red Rooster Harlem. And all the jazz bands, I was a centerpiece for music and live jazz at the time. And I worked there. They came to us. They started, we just, a rapport was built. They started calling me up, passing me the mic. I started singing. Did not know what I was doing, but was just like, hey, let's do this. Um, So I said all of that to say my musical journey was stop and go, and it wasn't the same instrument straight through. I picked up piano, I think, 11th and 12th grade after choir. My tenor saxophone, I stopped playing in 10th grade, and I didn't pick it up until maybe 3 years ago. Um, I started drum circle around 2015 with a djembe and rototoms here in DC. And I moved to LA in 2018 and I kept going to drum circles. Uh, And then I got bored with drums, hand drums, and 3 years ago, 2023, I started drum set. There's a drum set back here, but it's too late to play out loud right now. And hi. So this is a good because boom, I have therapy instruments that I play that I don't know the notes for. Keys I know the notes for. Bass, which I just played at the beginning, I do not know the notes for. I play that completely by ear. Um, and I started playing trombone as a therapy instrument as well at the drum circle, but I don't know the notes for that. I do it because it feels good and trombone is fun. It's very fun and I want to learn. And there were times where I was like, I want to learn the notes, but then no, I'm sort of cool with this space of this just being our thing when we come together and create. You know, it's just that. So why did I want to share all of that to say? Because somebody says, you says, wait, Venice drums. I went to Glow Flow back in the day. I went to Venice Beach Drum Circle, and what I'll say is two things. One, there was a gang fight there. Major fight. I'm talking about a major fight. So that was my first impression, first experience there. So I questioned the safety of it. And then, not that that happens all the time, but I also felt like they were off beat. Like I didn't have fun with the music that I was hearing. It wasn't anything remotely close to anything that I was enjoying or on a level of drum circles that I had been at. So, Lamert Park had, more of the rhythms and patterns that align with me. You said that riot started because somebody threw a Coke can. Whoa, so you were there? Whoa, who knows? Um Oh my, it was crazy that day. And I was like, and I don't want to say it like this, but you would think this is crazy to say it. Somebody might say, like, oh, go to Venice and not Lamert, like as though like one would be safer than the other. But, whatever. My original home drum circle was right here in DC, and it was at Malcolm X Park. Now they call it Meridian Hill Circle. That's just gentrification, but it's Malcolm X Park. You said, what's the best way to start? Because I never really sang before, and I'm thinking about joining choir next year. Oh my, y'all. By you saying that right now, you have no idea how much you are just blessing me right now. I am in a situation where I'm in transition from LA to DC. I'm up right now playing. I was reading research. If you were watching earlier, I said I was in a wheelchair about 3 months ago. I said I don't play with the term disability. And a part of the lab tests and the results since my time in the hospital have revealed some things that I've been hesitant to share with anyone at all, and then definitely online and with the public. But what I can say is, if you notice, even in hearing me just speak right now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just said out loud that 3 years ago, I started therapy instruments. 3 years ago, I stopped auditioning. If you look at my work, you'll see that I was a commercial model, music video model, runway, and I was about 100. On the best day, 85. On a solid day, 200. But in the past couple of months, I have fluctuated up to 240, 230. I'm completely out of shape. Not my normal. And my modeling career ended really around the time that I started picking up my instruments, not knowing that it's all coming full circle. Why am I bringing this up? I would love to help you with choir. I would love to help you with singing. I just shared with you that I was tone deaf. There's not many people that can say that they were tone deaf and they can sing at all, let alone the level that I am. And then I've later become a music teacher as I am now. And I have taught a choir. I've had a whole choir, a drum line. I've been in a band. I have my own band. And y'all can see it on my channel. So if you could message me, you are live radio, the letter U R, the letter, word live, radio on Instagram. And I don't know how to take messages yet on YouTube or if you can DM on YouTube or any of that. But please reach out to me because right now be the perfect time. And for the first person, I might even do it just free, just so that we can lay it down and show the world through content my testimony. But the condition that I have, I'm not claiming the condition. What I'll say is the symptoms that I have allude to a particular condition that doctors, it inhibits, it not only inhibits muscle growth, but it catabolizes muscle growth. So the whole time when I say I stopped auditioning, it's because I wasn't looking like my images anymore. I didn't look like my portfolio. My face just started like getting fat. My stomach started protruding, regardless of how much I worked out. So my workout, I kept saying, my workouts are not equating to the effort put in. Long story short, whatever this condition is, it catabolizes, eats away at your muscles and your bones. And the research that I was reading that led me to get up and just start playing tonight was because it said that the harder you work out, the quicker your muscles might waste away. So it's important to get the surgery first and to focus more on surgery. Now, we're not claiming this disease or syndrome, but I can't deny the symptoms that I've experienced. And when I researched, I was like, I just put in Google search all the activities that I've been doing to see, what can I do? What can I not do? What's productive? And there was a long list of all of my favorite workouts. It says stop these immediately. But it said music is great. It's helping me emotionally, it's helping me spiritually, mentally, mental clarity. It's lowering, it creates good hormones, good chemicals in your body. So, really, I'm almost on not doctor prescribed, but research suggested musical rest, musical rejuvenation, musical rehabilitation. And that's actually a passion of mine. I said I worked in the school system, um, and I'm a barber, and I'm just really about service. So to have this conversation, it would mean the world to me for someone at all, but specifically on a night like this, and someone from my live where I may not have hundreds of people viewing, but right now it's four, and earlier it was nine, and I saw 22. So y'all are coming and going, but hit me up. I would love to help somebody who actually feel like they can't sing to become, you know, to make that connection. And one, I felt like it's sort of neurological. It's not just reading music. It's like if you can make that connection of more and less, up, down, and how your body is an instrument, your voice is an instrument, and how you can just like reach and meet those places vocally with your own instrument and then later pair it with the instrument. Like I self-taught myself bass. drum set. I took my first drum set lesson this year, 3 years after I started. So there's different ways and avenues to get into. Okay, there's some comments that I want to read. But in general, it's never too late to start anything, but it's never too late to start music. And I think one of the best gifts of life is to the gift of music, the gift of fitness, the gift of gym, the gift of art. And those are my passions. Those are the subjects that I've taught in schools and that I talk about for free in life. They are my favorite. And they are, I believe, my purpose. And I don't know what God is doing in terms of, just life, my health, his intentions. But what I can say is I love him. I'm grateful. And to operate in purpose is a dream. And then to be compensated for it is further a dream. I'm going to be even further transparent because I'm really about breaking out of this. I was homeless in Los Angeles, but everything is like showing me that for the past 3 years, I've been personally experiencing a decline with my health, not knowing that it was that the whole time. Tumors that got to go. And the progress, the health, muscle building won't happen until after the surgery. So I'm so sensitive in spirit and emotion right now because all of my strengths, all the things that I take pride in, the body is a temple, cleanliness is next to godliness. Just all of these things. Eating healthy, I've been eating healthy. And at one point, my my ankles, depending on what I ate, something simple could just swell to a cankle. Um, and I was wondering, you know, what is wrong with me? Music therapy. Thank you, God. It's not even about career or being the great, a music career, to have the gift of music in life, to be able to heal yourself and others. So to read something that says, working out is going to work against you, that matches with my experience, the fatigue that comes with this thing. I'm not lazy, but I was having a really hard time not knowing what was wrong with me, the way that I needed naps, how tired I was. And as ambitious as I am, the get up and go person, just spending so much time resting and feeling this heaviness. And I've been, almost in a cave, a hermit, away from the world, waiting for like my bounce back. I've always been 2 weeks away from getting back in shape. And then this time, the last time I saw my abs were the last time I saw my abs. And I'm a former track athlete. I'm talking about number one, baby. Go out with the expectation of nothing less than number one. What are you talking about? And here I am was struggling to runway walk, like with pain. So finding other ways to exist, to be of purpose, to work, had to completely shift everything. But what I found along the way was music and art and fitness. And then for the time being, it's not too much physical that I'm supposed to be doing right now. Let me read these comments, but I was testifying. He says that riot started because somebody threw a Coke can. What's the best way to start? I've never really sang before, and I'm thinking about joining choir next year. Well, I think that's a great start. Just join the choir. Just being around it, all of your natural instincts first will just start the process, and you'll learn the areas that need strengthening, but you'll also have support with other sounds there to help balance you out. And then until it gets good, just don't be near a microphone. Um, so I think joining a choir is the first step. And until then, just sing along to your favorite songs. Look up whatever your playlist already is on your devices or get on YouTube and just go. Try your best. See how you feel first about it. And then maybe once you get a little confidence, share it with somebody, get some feedback, both from maybe a non musical person and then a musical person to get some feedback. He says, people will be people. You put too many together, there's always some kind of problem. It's a sad thing. What's up? Welcome back, a master smoker. And then the DC one is the one talking about choir. All right. So, one of the things that comes along with this condition is insomnia. So, I'm up right now. East Coast time, Eastern Standard Time, it says 2:27 a.m. West Coast time, PST. Pacific Standard Time, it would be 3 hours behind that. So, it's probably like what, 12:30 there? A little after midnight. So this was a midnight jam, midnight groove. Thank y'all for tuning in. I actually feel like I can go to sleep right now, and that is beautiful. Thank you for your time. This is beautiful. I want to screenshot right now. Hmm, did it work? Hmm. This screenshot is proof that tonight was real. This screenshot is proof that tonight is real. Hello, hello, hello. He says it's 11:30 PST. Okay, it's 11:30 PST. And that is the DC one. What's up, Bora Experience? Look, if y'all keep showing up, I may not go. I'm telling you, this is my dream right here, actually. I went to school for broadcast journalism. I didn't even mention my DJ experience. I've done years on WANM 90.5 FM. And if you look, I mean, this page alone is supposed to be a podcast. I auditioned for 106 in Park in 2012, the year Bow Wow won. 106 to Search. Um, and I did bring up that neurodivergent thing because one of the characteristics it talked about was like procrastination or like chronic, like unfinishing of tasks or something. And this project that we're having right now, and it's actually my dream to be able to do exactly what we're doing just on a larger scale. Someone said, add you on Discord. So I have Discord. I just have to get coordinated with all that. I just don't know it. So Instagram, please, please Instagram me. URLive Radio. The letter U, the letter R, the word live radio on Instagram. Um, you said thanks for sharing, bro. Just keep focusing on what you do best. Also, I'm doing a track as well, which is fun. Also, are you a Christian? I'm just assuming you are, though. And someone else asked if I was a Muslim. I am not Muslim. I was born and raised Baptist Christian. I eventually went to a AME church, African Methodist Episcopal, and then interesting story. Um, I remember. Well, we can just say it like this: in the Christian world, yoga is looked down upon, and I started yoga early in my journey. Like, tw- I started yoga at the end of high school to help with track, just for flexibility, and then stopped it for a little while. I don't think I did yoga at all in college for probably 4 years. And then after college, like at age 22 or something, I moved to LA the first time and I got back into it. This DVD, Rodney Yee, shout outs to him. But fast forward, not long after that, I briefly, um, I could say it like this without giving too much information. A pastor told me that yoga was demonic and that it wasn't welcome and just prohibited from their space. um I would say I went through a lot of spiritual awakenings and things during that time, and I never stopped yoga. And then I still eventually made my way around to choir in the church, Christian. If I were to just make it real fast, in this short amount of time we've exchanged, when two, three, or more gather, God is present. I love God. I no longer identify as a Christian, but I love God. There are details that have complicated my relationship with the title Christian, but it is still a foundation. I still watch online church from Christian pastors. Shout outs to Keon Henderson, Lighthouse Church out of Houston. Shout outs to, is it Kenneth Locke, Evolve Church. And then the choir most recent that I was a part of was the Dietrich Haddon Hill City Collective. And shout outs to the Hill City Church in Torrance, California. So I know that that's a long-winded, complex response. So I'm someone literally who's like does not identify as Christian, but still is in the mix. I just have my own personal relationship with God, my own personal, just spirituality within it, without some of the limitations and constrictions that come with it. So, that's what it is for right now. I'm more comfortable now than before speaking about it. I understand from the Christian perspective of why and how yoga could be seen as what it is. What I can say is what I do. I don't practice any sort of chants or chanting or praying to any other gods. So, because there are dimensions of it where people do that kind of stuff, maybe that's what they think that I'm doing. But what I'm doing is like restorative flexibility work, meditative, that kind of stuff. Um, so, but apparently, yoga, the claim is that one is worshiping false idols and gods that are not Jesus Christ or the creator himself. Um, that rabbit hole. Hi, welcome. The Okay, earlier when somebody mentioned Down syndrome and we were talking about disabilities, I brought up Leon Eisenberg, who again is the creator of ADHD, who admitted on his deathbed that it's a fictitious disease that he created for pharmaceutical gain and profit, period. So when you hear something like that and it's documented, it's like, well, what do you do with all the research that everyone identifies with? Is that not placebo? Okay. So I might be a problem. I might be a threat. I spend a lot of time in isolation. I have questioned even within me saying that, hey, I'm not a Christian anymore and I still do yoga. Was that pastor right? Because I just mentioned to y'all I'm having health issues and I've questioned, have I been cursed? I've said no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And I have more than a mustard seed of faith. And I do believe that God has protected me. But no weapon formed against me shall prosper does not mean that attacks won't come. And it does not stop an attack. It just might block the prospering. If I'm here today to speak to you, then it hasn't prospered. But Lord knows, have I questioned, has somebody tried to put a root on me? And the way that this current thing happened and the timeline of it and the way it came from my career, well-being, happiness, uh just came for everything. Even the ability to work out, to where the harder you work out, the harder you're working against yourself and the more that you are contributing to muscle wasting. What the hell is that? Is that not something to be reversed? Is that not a damn curse? Excuse my language. So it's all questionable. Like, is some of this stuff outside of the traditional Christian lane demonic and witchcraft and working against me? I don't know. I question that, God. I've asked for his involvement and confirmation and things like that. But what I can also say is within the Christian world, where are the physical workouts within the culture outside of praise and worship, which is a workout in itself? But, God, the creator, I'm sure he would have something in place for people to move. And in the Christian and gospel world, the diet is very close to the slave diet, the American slave that the Europeans brought us. A lot of the diseases and quote unquote disorders are from the diet, the lard, the fried chicken, the fat back, the salt meat, just all of that crap, the sugar. Um, all of that stuff is at the church cookouts. That's the devil's food. So, like, I'm the spirit and the soul that's like, I'm just sort of, again, a personal relationship with God, the creator. Um, and hopefully the creator, God, knows my heart and sees that I'm trying and exploring and, but still never out to bring harm to anyone or to hate anyone. There are just experiences that I've had in this world. Okay, I brought up all of that other kind of stuff, talk about ADHD and disorders to just dispute that because I'm just saying I don't accept information from anywhere and just go along with the flow of everything. The matrix is the matrix, the world is the world. Evil is evil, and all of that stuff is present, including deception, public perception, and ideas like disorder and disability and disease. Like a lot of that stuff is within the diet and your dailies, discipline and faith. So, you know, to be celebrating Easter in church to me is an oxymoron. To tell me that yoga is demonic, but to turn around and celebrate Valentine's Day and announce it to celebrate Easter. Christmas is not Jesus's birthday. Jesus's name is not even Jesus. It's Yahshua or Yeshua. Some say Yahuwah. And then they have all the other like the Yahwehs and Jehovah's and stuff like that. All of that stuff. Jesus is not his name. And coming from someone who went to school for broadcast journalism, which is under the umbrella of the English department and language and communication. You learn and know that in a sentence, you might translate the sentence, but someone's name you don't translate. That's their name. Um, I use these two examples usually. When Maria and Esteban from a Spanish speaking country moves to America, is their name automatically Mary and Stephen? No. Even if the translation for Esteban and Mary is Mary and Stephen, is that their name if they didn't have a name change? No. You don't change a name, you don't translate a name. Then, if in the Bible it has clear descriptions of the characteristics of this character, Yeshua, and it says, bronze skin, hair like wool, eyes like fire, brass, um, all of that. And then you turn around and you look at the image of white skin, blue eyes, blonde hair. But just like I gave you Leon Eisenberg for ADHD, look up Caesar Borgia, Caeser, like Borja or Bor like Jia or Borgia, one of those. That is who the white skin, blonde hair, blue eyed person is off of a self portrait assigned by his father. He was literally given an assignment to create a self portrait, and that was going to be used as the image of Jesus Christ, who is a completely different identity, both physically, characteristics wise, name wise. He's just so I was in the choir one day, started having convictions. I'm like, we're singing this name Jesus out loud, watching people just completely melt into tears. And I started feeling convicted. I was like, what if we sang all of these songs and just went back and said the real name? Would it still have the same impact? Who would be offended? Just how would that go down? And I just started having, this sort of conversation a little more freely and started having, passionate conversations slash debates with Christians. And, I was accused of being so many things. Hebrew Israelite. I was like, I'm not none of that. In fact, don't give me no name. I don't want no title. I love God, the creator, the one that created me. If I could speak to that and so as have a personal relationship, all this other kind of stuff in between is just distortion and distraction uh between the blessing and everything else. So I wanted to just take time to address that because, I have questions in my own life. Like, well, I know where I stand on a few things, but the results of my life also, like I said, I was homeless in Los Angeles. I've worked a lot of jobs. I have not had a one consistent job, really ever. And my time in the school system was horrible with the administration. However, phenomenal with the students and impact. Um, hi, welcome, welcome. Um, So I've questioned the spiritual attacks. I've questioned God's intention and desire for my life and purpose. And I wanted to know, like, all the hardship was that because I was being defiant and going against his will. Shout outs to Jonah out of the Bible. I always tag that story because I felt like, you know, a little convicted, guilty, called out. Jonah was stubborn. Jonah uh was assigned to go to Nineveh. He was headed to Tarshish or Tarsha, Tarshish. I got to reread that to learn how to say it. But essentially, God said, go to Nineveh, handle this business for me. He was like, "Er?" The ghetto. You want me to go to Venice Beach Drum Circle? What? And he went about his business, to where he was trying to go to. He was trying to go to the Mary J. Blige Las Vegas residency. So that's where he went, and metaphorically. By all means, anybody who would love to bless me with some Mary J. Blige tickets, that would be the greatest. But anyway, he went to where he wanted to go by boat, and God sent a storm. The folks on the boat knew that the storm was related to or connected to Jonah, and they threw him overboard. When he went overboard, a large fish or whale or fish swallowed him up, and he was in the belly. I don't know exactly for how many days, but we're going to just use the number three for right now. Let's just say he was in the stomach for 3 days. And that fish redirected his path to his assignment where he was supposed to be, Nineveh. So God got involved and redirected his path. Me, I was in Hollywood. I was doing the model life thing. I had left the school system in teaching, and then God shut it down. Or was it God? I don't know. But I do know it was all shut down. And then 3 years later, I'm where I am now. So I don't know if it's the same, but when I heard the Jonah story, I just felt like I could relate. And I love how bougie Jonah was, because I mean, like, what a of all things, and with who, to be like that with God, to be bougie. I just think it's not too funny because God could put the joke on you, and you'll be the center of the laughter. But to just be like, I just felt like that's so relatable. Like, you want me to go where and do what? Where I'm gonna be underappreciated. These ungrateful folk, they're gonna keep doing what they doing. I already have plans. And last time you sent me on something, it's just so real and honest, and not so like, oh, holier than thou of all the other stories in the Bible. You feel me? You said, no, that's valid also. It's actually interesting that you were talking about disabilities because I feel like no one acknowledges them. Again, I wrote, for those who were not here when I read it the first time, I said, I'm having a hard time entertaining, embracing, acknowledging the term disorder or disability, um, and then handicap for defiance. Basic respect and gratitude radiates if it's indeed present. The reason that I wrote if it's indeed present, and I want to tie in the barbershop right now, because I've been asking the question just to see what other people's feedback for their experience was. I said, do you remember your first time going to a barbershop? Or just what it used to feel like to go to a barbershop? How was that experience? And I listened to them, and we all sort of said the same thing, that as a child, it was intimidating to go into the barbershop. It was like 2 rows of like just these intimidating looking guys cussing, you know, just barbershop behavior. And you're this little kid going through this aisle all alone, all eyes are on you. Um, okay. Structure, matter, rock, earth, frequency, vibration. The same way that I said that I was tone deaf and I learned to be able to sing, but me being able to create an audio frequency based on a physical experience that I had and learning to maneuver and train and have control over the physical translated into audio. Audio, A-L, and then audio, I-O. Or you could just say sound and frequency. So the rock, the flesh, the human being, the body, the temple can directly be read body language, sign language. Just for the record, I know sign language, so I can read non-verbally and communicate. And that has blessed actually my teaching of within the special needs realm because I already have an innate nonverbal communication, capacity to where the nonverbal students, they may not know sign language, but visually they can follow me and we can communicate. So I said all of that to say the same, if you were to take that and apply it to this experience of walking into a barbershop, these dudes can look at you and they're reading you. Even if they're not, it feels like they are. And if I were to just throw a random word out there just as an icebreaker, boom, bastard. What is a bastard? A bastard is a fatherless child. If matter is matter and rock is rock, solid is a solid and earth is earth, and then maybe like wind is sound, you know, vibrations, to hear the sound, the singing from the diaphragm, which would be the body, the temple. And if the body is impacted, then the frequency and the sound, the impact that comes from it is going to be affected, impacted. Then the presence of physical matter, your daily food nutritionally, diet wise, and then your environment, your eye gate, the things that you absorb in the physical, all of that is translatable just as much as sign language is to voice and everything else in between. So I just think, first off, to praise God, we got to praise the right physical one to have the right spiritual experience. Same applies to bastard. When a father is absent, is that not identifiable and connected to those stares that I used to get? I bring that up to say they say that guys, males develop or mature at a slower rate than women, or vice versa, women mature faster than males, and that's why, they usually date up. All of this stuff. I'm like, well, if that's already the case for just the regular 100% A version of a male, and you're still behind, a female's maturity rate, then what happens when you are a bastard, fatherless? Certain things are absent, certain structures on the rock, the matter, are absent. Do you really have a disorder or disability, or are you just malnutritioned? I hope I said that right. You know, malnourished. Are you just malnourished? Nurture versus nature. Did God really create a disabled person with a disorder? Salute. Thank you for. You said, I'm going to hop off now. It was fun and interesting talking to you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was fun. But that is my discussion on that. Um, I see a lot going on in the world right now. I hate this term YN First off, I hate the N word, period. I don't care. I don't want to hear nothing about no negus. And, um, it was once all of these positive things. Here in America, the N word means what it means here in America. It has horrible context, connotation, history. And so, frequency wise, no, no, um, no. But, oh, that's horrible to say. But can you identify an N word physically if applying all the same concepts I've been talking about? Just as easy as maybe you can identify from that perspective of like being that bastard child walking into a barbershop feeling like you're going through an x-ray scan of judging eyes. um yeah, man, I just feel like ultimately what's with all the name calling, all these disorders, medicine. um Come on. All right, y'all. It's the URLive podcast. Underground Remix Live, your number one radio source for live rhythm and news, classics and current events, music and information, jams and thoughts, but sometimes require a little participation and improvisation during our live jam sessions broadcasted from right here at the station. I'm your master of ceremony, Sherrod, and you can tune in right here on URLive Radio. Follow me on Instagram and YouTube. Uh, And if you feel like spelling my name, Sherard Inc., SHERARDINC. And don't forget, Sherard Natural. Holla.